So it was 10 years ago that my husband and I flew to Argentina, and I'm showing you where it is on the map. Buenos Aires is actually where we flew. That's the biggest city in Argentina. You can see where it is and how it compares in size to the other South American countries. So where does the Argentina name come from?
Probably means like money or gold.
Silver?
Silver, right, because the Latin word for silver is argen. So they just called it silver. It was not like the Incas or the Aztecs where there was all this gold, although there was gold down there. And there were no big chiefs of the indigenous people when the discoverers came. So it's quite a different circumstance than what we've talked about before when we talked about, I think we did Mexico or something, I can't remember. Anyway, or the Incas, we did the Incas. Okay, so just to show you the Strait of Magellan, and they called it Tierra del Fuego because what's fuego in Spanish? Fire. So when the first settlers, or the first explorers, came down to that area, they saw the native fires on land, and they called it the land of the fires, like bonfires. So that's how it's called, because I always wondered myself, why would they call it Tierra del Fuego? Okay. Now these people are why we went to Argentina. The man on the left is a cousin of my husband, who's on the far right, and the woman is another cousin, and she is from a different branch of the family. In other words, the two sides of the family. And why are they in Argentina? Because my husband and they were all born in Austria. So they left Austria in 1938 as Hitler was coming in. And some of them went to America. My husband went to England. And these two cousins went to Argentina, to Buenos Aires. So Stefan became Esteban, and, well, they called her Sissy, but her name is Inez, so she's still Sissy. Okay, so that's why we went. And we've been a few times, had been a few times. I like to give a little background, so forgive me if this is a little boring, but I like to talk about what made Argentina what it is. So I'll talk about 4 different stages, I mean to say. So pre-Columbian is sort of like everywhere, you know, you have the indigenous people and their art and culture. Some of you may have seen and read about the hands, the Cave of the Hands, maybe? No? Yeah. And they used, it was a stencil, so they'd put a hand on and then they'd blow ink through a tube. So it's pretty famous. I had heard of it before. So it's really a long time ago, 7,300 years BC. It's a long time ago. It's just a more close-up vision of the hands, the cave. So more. And you can see the map. That is where the cave was discovered. That's in the Patagonia area. And then I also call it more than the Cave of Hands, because what do you see running across the top there? You see some guanacos. And so they were there. They look and act sort of like camels and llamas and that family. So you can see they are there, and I have seen herds of them when I was in Argentina, wild guanaco. So that was the prehistoric. Okay, now we'll talk about colonial, and that's when the Spanish came and found it. Now, they probably killed off some Indians, I'm sure they did, but it wasn't the big deal as it was with the Incas in Mexico. So you've heard of Magellan. He went around the world. He personally didn't make it. They stopped at some island and the indigenous people killed him, but his ship continued on around, so that's why he gets credit for the first circumnavigation of the world. And he's important because I showed you earlier the Strait of Magellan. He found that, and that's an important part of Argentina. Where they were interested was the Rio de la Plata. The estuary is between modern-day Uruguay and Argentina. So these are the people who are given credit. They don't know exactly which one came first, but I always thought Amerigo Vespucci was just a map maker, but I guess he was an explorer too. So there we go. There's another explorer, Juan Diaz de Solis was also killed, but his ship made it back home. So that's just an estuary. It's sort of like Mississippi, if you've been to Mississippi or heard about it, where the river goes and dumps a lot of soil and silt and sand, and it creates this very large area that's not quite ocean deep, and it's a mix of salt water and fresh water. So that's what they found. And that is there's the Strait of Magellan. I just wanted to, the very bottom of the country. Oh, I'm left Buenos Aires for a moment. We'll go to another explorer. He established the first settlement in Argentina. So he was down there also exploring, and he discovered the rivers that flow into the big estuary, and he's the one who sent home the presence of silver in that area. And what is interesting was that his father, who did discover Newfoundland and thought it was China, he was with his father at that point, and it is the same Cabot that we have in Boston today, direct descendants of this explorer. A word about the indigenous people. There's an authentic person there, who was photographed in 1840. Some of the Argentinian area that at that time was, the Incas were part of it too, but of course they did not have the boundaries that we have now. So, and I thought this was interesting. It's sort of like America, where we have indigenous people self-identify. And so that is true in Argentina too, and it's 2.83% of the population consider themselves indigenous. And they are not treated very well, as you can expect. So we're back to Buenos Aires at the estuary. So just a word, at that time, Portugal was also nosing around in that area, and they all were trying to claim land. And at one point, then, they made a treaty, the two countries, Spain and Portugal, that they would divide up the area. And that's why we have Brazil. And what do they speak? Portuguese. And the rest of the continent speaks Spanish. So, yeah, and so they first called it Santa Maria del Buen Aire, good air. Okay, and so here's another guy who died on the way home after being attacked. So they fought. Didn't win, but they fought. And that's my hotel. I just had that picture. Okay, so the next phase I want to talk about is nation building, which was the colonial era, where we've talked about that in other presentations, where there were many they're famous to the South Americans, people who were born in South America, probably they of high families, high stature families. They would go back to Spain to get their education. They would join the military or come back as explorers and liberators, and that is José de San Martín. Oh, and Uruguay, at that time before, it was not until 1830 that Uruguay became its own country. Before then, they were all sort of one country. So now the fourth phase is modern Argentina. That obelisk is in honor of the Civil War. Well, it's break from Spain, not Civil War. Today's president is this man. I thought what was sort of interesting about him was he's kind of leftist in his politics in some ways, but he's considered sort of right of center. But he's a friend of the United States. Who's he? You've heard of him?
Yeah.
Okay, three times he became president of Argentina. He was military bred and born, and he actually got to be president through the military coups that happened with him as part of it. So yeah, he won the first of his presidencies in 1946. Okay, and his power was really based on the underprivileged, the unions, and they called them the descamisados. The word for shirt is camisa in Spanish. So these were the people without shirts, descamisados. And they were his supporters. And who's that lovely lady?
Eva.
How many of you have seen Evita? Me too, I love the movie. So yes, Eva Perón, she went to Argentina from a very humble little place in Patagonia at the age of 15, and she was trying to become a movie star or singer or something. So yeah, they call that area, some of that area, the Pampas, and she was very political, as you can read. Give you a minute.
Yeah, why did she die so young? Why did she die so young?
She had cancer.
Oh,
Yeah. And I apologize for so many words. I don't have a very good memory. Some of you might relate to that. So without a whole bunch of notes, I thought I'm just going to put that stuff up and let them read it. But yeah, she was into, even today, that she's loved and remembered. She's really kind of national hero because of her support of the poor people, basically. Now this is what sort of on the street, just a scene that now you'll see the difference in photographic beauty, because this one's mine and some of the other ones you're going to see are from Wikipedia or somewhere. Anyway, that's just a street scene. We'll have several of those. But you can see the type of architecture this is Buenos Aires. And the one on the left, that is a human who, painted himself, and these things are kind of fun, and stands very still, and then you walk by and they say, "Hola," or something, and it startles you. So there's another street scene. More street scenes. I know, I love that one. That one moved also. Yeah, and the open air market is very common in South America. Well, France too. There's another one. I just liked it. Now what's that?
Must be lamb.
Could,
hind quarter of
it's a hind quarter of a cow, I would say. Yeah, it's bigger than a lamb. And what does that represent? That represents Argentinian beef. It was for years and years, decades, the prime export of Argentina. Today, it is not the prime export. But that cousin I showed you in the beginning, his whole career was the export of beef around the world. So it's still a big business. But in 2019, as you can see, it was the fourth largest producer of beef. Yeah, just give you a minute there to read. Okay, so when we were there, now those people are the niece and, well, the niece and her husband of the lady who was on the right with Martin, and they live in Buenos Aires as well. Well, they have a ranch outside of the city, and they invited us out for, really it's a barbecue, but they call it an asado, which is the Spanish for asar, fry, yeah, sear, cook, that kind of thing. So yeah, and once again, I'm talking about the cattle because I just found those statistics were amazing. 23 million cows in one country. I don't know, it sounds like a lot to me. And okay, so on the bottom, the picture there is a sample of what we were given to eat. So it was some chicken, some beef, different cuts of beef, some lamb. I think that was all. So at one point we're sitting there and one of the family comes over with what he says is a delicacy. We saved this for you. And it was yellow and kind of crunchy and soft looking at the same time and greasy. I didn't want to eat it. And I think it was like the pancreas or something, but they considered it, whoa, they were saving it for us. I can't remember whether I even tried it or not, but yeah. So there's another just little note about what an asado is. It's like our barbecue. And that's their house, the kids' house. I call them the kids. So we can't leave Argentina without talking about the gauchos. They were nomadic cowboys who tended herds of cattle. And they're still very popular. There still are gauchos out there. There's still the cattle industry, but they're very part of the Argentinian culture, the whole. It's for us like our cowboys, mythical, but we romanticize them. Okay. And that's a photograph that I liked, so I just put it in there. I didn't take it, it was online. And of course, we can't also forget about what? El Tango, yes. So here's some information. I'll just give you a minute to read it. I apologize, it's a lot, but. Yeah, it was originally a dance of the poorer areas of Uruguay and Argentina, just on the opposite sides of the river, and in the ports. And it was apparently widely invented by the children of the enslaved people who had been brought to South America. And the Colombe music, it's really drum beat with some music added to it. Again, that is an African source of the music. But I think it's quite a tricky dance, and I can't possibly do it, but we saw it on the street. You can see that. I took that picture. And there was a little pickup band, and people were dancing the tango. Yeah. Oh, another, I just took this picture. They're probably professors walking somewhere. There's more street scenes. The one on the left is very typical of South American homes, the interior area, the space with the building around it, the courtyard. Yep. And that pretty, I just had to take that picture. It was so pretty.
Very nice color.
Hmm?
Very nice color.
Yes, yes.
The whole bush is flowers.
Yeah. So we took a ride on a little sort of tourist boat on the Rio de la Plata. And you can see how muddy it is, but of course it's because it's part of that estuary. So it's picking up a lot of the dirt as it goes toward the ocean. These aren't, nothing really to say about it. I just took these pictures and thought they were kind of fun. There were some pretty houses along the side.
Oh, no sunshine. It's a good shadow in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where a pool is?
Excuse me?
Is that where a swimming pool is? What's that square thing?
I think it is like a greenhouse.
Yeah, I think so.
But you know what, an alternative idea, in which I can't, well, or a pool, or it could be like an electrical center where all the equipment is. So I took it without knowing what it was. Okay,
Interesting.
yeah. And there's more, see, that's more, you know, they've sort of cultivated the edge of the river. Who's been to Paris and seen Père Lachaise? Anybody? That's Père Lachaise is the name of their major graveyard. Anybody been there? Okay, so you can truly relate to this. It's like a little city of mausoleums, one by one, with narrow little pathways, and you go down, and it's like a city. They're all above you. There are angels, marble angels, you know, going like this, or children, or anything. And I was just enchanted. It's called La Recoleta because it was started as a cemetery in a little mission that was called La Señora de la Recoleta, so that's what they call it. It doesn't have really a translation. And it's absolutely beautiful. There's a little idea of what it's like. You just get a sense,
Very narrow street.
very narrow little, you know, you walk, you can't get a car in there or anything. But, and it's a place where all the sort of grandees, the big shots of Argentina go to be buried. So Eva Perón is there. Now Juan Perón is in Spain, and I don't know why, I can't remember. I think I read it, but I can't remember how that happened.
It's old part of town.
Yes, this is all part of Buenos Aires. Mm-hmm.
Do they put the picture of the deceased
Not,
outside the vaults?
no,
Like they do it
I
at
never saw that
Okay.
we do. Yeah, now they may now, you know, it's kind of a recent fad, so,
Yeah.
or practice. So remember, I was there 10 years ago, so I don't really know, but yeah, I just thought it was very beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I took some more, but these are sort of special.
Beautiful.
Hmm. And that's from outside, so we were coming in, and there's an entryway, and then this is just from the outside. There's a little bit more.
It's nice too.
It's an angel.
It's really very beautiful.
Oh,
It's big.
nice.
One more. There we go. Now, in our trip to Buenos Aires, at that point, we did not go to Patagonia, but I thought it was important to remind people that it is a part of Argentina and an important part. It has the snow of the Andes, and people go there to ski. And then you also have wild herds of the guanaco, and you have all these other animals too. And it's the lower half of Argentina, which you'd call Patagonia. Excuse me. And they have penguins. So we were taking a ship around the Cape Horn, started in Buenos Aires, and then we were going around Cape Horn and then back up to Chile. So this was on this trip, and they stopped in Patagonia, and they had nice pathways. Anybody relate to that here? Who's done that? Okay, we've got someone. So you know it's charming, right? Lovely. It's just lovely. They're not afraid of humans, but you stay on the path, and you don't try to pet them or anything, but they go about their business. Yeah, so this is one just sitting there. And I just mentioned the other kinds of penguins. But this is a Magellanic penguin. So yeah, I just took some pictures.
It's cute.
They are so cute. They will steal rocks from each other's nests if the one isn't watching, and they crouch down in their nests and look out at people.
Won't hug them.
Yeah, I know. So it's on the coast, so they can go in the water whenever they want. And they do.
It's cold water there.
What's that?
Cold water.
Yeah, oh, yes, I would think so. Yeah, it's down there near the Antarctica. Okay, more pictures. They're just so cute. Couldn't stop.
Little tiny.
Yeah, one is sort of hiding. More.
They let you come?
You could get close. Yeah, I did not use a Zoom or anything. I was
Don't afraid?
Yeah, I was very close to them. I could be like this close. They didn't. I mean,
Because maybe a lot of people come.
Yeah, there were tourists.
It looks like they pose for you.
Yeah,
They
I
don't
know.
afraid.
Yeah, but it was really a lot of fun and very interesting. And then we went back to I'm trying to remember, the dock. And this was a big old sea lion, or was it a seal? I can't remember, but he was there to get fish from the morning fishermen, their catch come in. So he was right there looking at everybody. And this is just a cutie cat that I found. I'm sorry.
It's domestic cat.
Yeah. Okay, so here's another street scene. There's my husband on the left of the right-hand picture. And there's his cousin, Stefan. And then once again, we saw some dancers of the tango, they call it tango.
They dancing on the street, playing
Yeah,
music.
yeah, they did, and they were good. That's that dance where they're like kicking up their back heel and like this, and
Show us more.
I'll fall down. But no, it was very, very interesting. And then we went to a museum, and I just took these pictures. I liked the neon, so I'll just stop there. And that was a neon there that I liked with their favorite sport.
It's nice.
So that's my story. Any questions or comments? Sorry, it didn't take as long as I thought it was going to take.
It's good you did a lot of picture old town, because it's interesting looking historical picture like old town.
Yes.
Better everybody see now new houses, new
Yes.
style everywhere, every country the same. Old historical, it's very nice. You did
Right.
a lot of this picture, it's very nice. I like it. It's historical pictures.
Thank you.
It's
Yes.
good.
So I really feel bad. I should have added more. I thought I was overloading you with historical stuff.
Yeah, it's
See
very nice.
if I can think of something a
Geography,
story. Yes.
historical.
Is there, other than the barbecue, was there any other kinds of foods that Argentinians
Not
have that's different?
particularly different. No.
Lot of meat.
It's you know, one thing I meant to mention, it is a very cosmopolitan city. You think you're in a European city, and that's true of Mexico City too. People think, well, we've seen pictures of South America and they're all very poor and all of that. Well, you go to these big cities, they're very, especially because they were founded by Europeans, so they are very European in feel and vibe. Yeah.
They have a lot of meat because they like meat, barbecue and so on. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
Did you find the beef any different in taste?
No, I did not. Beef was beef, except for that little piece of whatever it was.
Beef everywhere.
That
Do they serve
delicacy.
potatoes and vegetables if you would have dinner?
Yes,
Like in
yeah,
Portugal,
it was
it's
very,
mostly just
yeah, very.
potatoes, no vegetables.
No, I don't remember. I mean, we ate out a lot. Trying to remember. I don't remember anything specific, but
They have a lot of fruits and vegetables.
yeah, just you think of, you know, would be a tropical. Well, it's not all tropical, but they would have access to tropical fruits. Well, that would have been opposite hours, so probably September, November, because the seasons are different down there, so it would be warm. Or could have been January. I don't remember, but I know it was the opposite of what we were here. Yeah.
One part more on the north, one part more south. It's different parts.
Southern hemisphere.
There's a date stamp on the photo, and it looks like it's
2010.
March.
Thank you.
So
We went in March.
It would be like fall, right?
It would be fall, yes, but I remember it was just lovely weather. Yeah.
Fall is great.
Yeah.
Even down near Terra del Fuego, or it was how?
It was cooler down there when we were on a ship when we went around, and yeah, it got cold. It actually got very cold down there. One interesting thing, because the Pacific Ocean is coming this way, and the Atlantic is going sort of this way in terms of the waves and whatever the forces are. So there's always a huge clash right at the tip of Cape Horn. And you know, you've read stories about, it's absolutely true that in the old days when these ships were trying to get around, of course they were going under sail. They had to turn back half the time, or they just couldn't make it because of the force of the winds coming east. So anyway, so we're down there, and our ship wasn't able to make it. We had to delay and hang around for one day, but they did take us into the lowest point of land in the world, which is called Ushuaia. It's a little town, and that was kind of fun just to be in the lowest part of the world. Yeah, it was a nice little town, touristy, of course.
Lowest part. What do you mean by lowest?
Most southern?
The most southern. I'm sorry, my vocabulary. Yes, the most southern point.
You were in south and north part of Argentina, both parts,
Have I?
everywhere in
No.
Argentina, or only two big towns and that's all.
Oh, in Argentina?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just the two. Well, and then Patagonia. Yeah, no, we probably went to the little suburb out of Buenos Aires.
Big country.
Yeah, yeah. So would anybody, yes, Nancy?
When you came from the Northeast, did you stop somewhere in Miami or?
Yeah, we took off from Miami. Yeah, Boston to Miami, and then, yeah. Or it could have been, depends on whether you're talking about the cruise or the,
And,
yeah, I'm trying to think. We may have flown to New Orleans. I frankly don't remember, I'm sorry. But you can't go straight. At least you couldn't 10 years ago. Maybe you can today. Yeah, was there? Yes.
There are a lot of Europeans in Argentina now.
Yes, it's very European, very Caucasian or white or whatever word we want to use. Partly because of the diaspora, but I don't know. I think it just, well, the Spanish were there. They were the first colonizers.
Where part of people, what language used? Spain or
They came from Spain.
Spain?
Yeah.
Main,
Hmm.
Spain.
They colonized from
And
Spain.
Mexican and English.
Well, they would intermarry with the native, with the I like to say indigenous peoples, and of course that's called a mestizo in Spanish, and a mixed. That's actually the word for mixed. Yeah.
Just wondering what the local, what was the language like? Did you have difficulty? Did they speak
What-
English mostly?
Well, many where we were, yes, but I spoke Spanish, so I enjoyed the practice.
It's excellent.
It's very rusty, but yeah, but it's very cosmopolitan. I think we just enjoyed it very much. It's very like Paris.
It's Spanish. Muchas gracias.
See, oh, and they put an upside down exclamation point. Usually, I don't have an upside down one, but when they're writing Spanish, if they want to do that, they put it in front. You know Spanish? I'm looking at you. Un poquito, sí.
Is your vest from Argentina?
No, it looks like it, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. So, and we saw gauchos in driving around. You know, we were able to see them outside of the city. So they're real. Yeah, it's a beautiful city. I think they're a little bit suffering now economically, but everything changes.
Somebody riding with you, show everything, or you by yourself, your team only, or somebody show you, your relatives show you everything.
Oh yes, the relatives took us around.
It's good.
Yeah, we were lucky that way. I'm sorry, I don't have anything really outrageously interesting, but that was our trip.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Thank you.
Very interesting and nice pictures. I love it.
Thank you very much.